On behalf of the Asia Pacific International Model United Nations Organizing Committee, Secretariat, and Board of Days, I welcome you again to the closing plenary. I will begin to introduce our wonderful speaker for tonight. Ms. Samira Gutoc is a former ARMM legislator and commissioner of the Bangsamoro Transition Commission, civic and youth leader, speaker, journalist, and women's rights and peace advocate. She also served as a member of the Philippine Army PA Multi-Sectoral Advisory Board. She helped organize the renowned rescue team, a volunteer group set up in response to the humanitarian. Apologies for the connection, but my audio is still here. She helped organize the renowned rescue team, a volunteer group set up in response to the humanitarian crisis that ensued after the Marawi siege in 2017 and spoke in Congress about human rights abuses during the martial law in Marawi. As a spokesperson of the renowned rescue team, which is assisting the government and survivor families of missing and dead people from the siege, she was recently awarded the UN Development Program and Peace Awards 2018 as a community organizer in Marawi City. In the previous administration, Ms. Samira Gutoc was appointed as a sectoral representative for women in the ARMM Legislative Assembly. As a legislator, she authored and the Enhanced Education Act in ARMM and has pushed for regional advocacies on declaring schools as a zone of peace, open government, civil society, and stakeholder collaboration, among others. As a journalist as well, Ms. Samira Gutoc has worked as a correspondent for the Philippine Daily Inquirer, PDI. Please mute your microphones, delegates. Thank you very much. Featuring the Marawi city and Muslim communities all over the country. She has also worked with award-winning groups led by the director Marilo Sabaya from GMA and the writer Ricky Lee to conceptualize the trail baiting movie Bagong Buwan, which has reaped accolades in film festivals abroad in New York, Japan, and Asia. She has reported on the situation of Muslims in Kuwait, Tandang Sora, and Al Jazeera, contracted outfit, and spoke on BBC on the issues of minorities facing globalization. She has also been the former editor of Moro Times by Manila Times and was the editor-in-chief of the MSU Mindanao Versatarian. She tapped on Tri-Media to advocate for cultural minorities, peace, human rights, and intercultural understanding, and has been featured on magazines including Marie Claire, Cosmopolitan, Quality Britain, and Esquire Philippines. Ms. Samira Gutoc was a recipient of the 10 Outstanding Youth Women, or TOYM, for social, cultural, and youth development by the JCI Philippines in 2001. And Outstanding Women in the Nation Service, or TOWN, in 2019. The Glory Awards by the UP College of Mass Communication, also in Teen. She obtained her degrees in journalism and master in international studies at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and finished her law degree at the Arellano School of Law. She was also Chevening Scholar of the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies in London. She's currently married to an engineer and has a 3-year-old son. Let's all give it up for Miss Samira Guto.
Oh my gosh. Thank you very much. Thank you to the APIMUN Conference, Asia Pacific Youth. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Is my audio okay?
Yes, po.
Yes, ma'am. It's all right.
So thank you very much for this platform to just say thank you to all the organizers and a celebration of the world's largest population, the young people. And it's really like shocking still for us who continue to work the development goals, SDG monitoring, that our country continues to be unprepared with many of many of the disasters that have already occurred in our country for the past decades. Here in the Philippines, we've already attended so many climate change events that say that the Philippines is really on top of many countries as one facing disasters. And to couple that with is now the COVID pandemic. So multiple burdens confront our young people: uncertainty in enrollment, uncertainty in graduation, uncertainty on jobs opportunity. The youth bulge is reality. Despite that, we find inspiration that the youth bulge, which reminds us that the youth bulge will not be able to get itself into the job bulge because there's no job bulge out there. We are a bulge because we're just so many, but then our country can't absorb us, or the job sector can't absorb us as much because there's not as many available jobs, and counting pa technology that will replace many of the labor work that we do so often. So it's really timely for our conference to tackle our role as youth voice. And we do remind that our laws protect us. We are not afraid that there is anti-terror bill, and other countries in the world are actually showing authoritarian tendencies like our country. There is a wide petition that has gone around. 500 foreign ministers, former ministers of the world have signed a document, and I'll just share a link soon, later, that shows that the COVID response is being used to justify and to lock and to restrict, to further reinforce their powers. So it's scary times, guys. And why does the youth voice matter? Because our courts will not come in. There's no controversy. We can't even file cases. We can't, come together with our lawyer. Although, if we do have this Wi-Fi technology as our means, then we can. There's 17, 16 petitions already against the anti-terror bill, a testament that technology, online petitioning can actually already happen. That's the major example already of getting our voices in through the youth petitions that were forwarded. So with this APIMUN conference, our Asia Pacific Youth Conference, being a part of the Asia Pacific Youth community in the 1990s, I know that Wi-Fi technology, the digital world will bring us more challenges. Sexual exploitation is higher, pornography is higher, children being trafficked online, their photographs being spread is already at its highest. And of course, you saw that with COVID, there was still violence against women and children by hundreds. In only 2 months, from March to May, there were 700 or so incidents of rape, etc., and sexual abuse. So it is shocking. It is shocking that it can happen despite the rules on staying at home, and the abuser can actually be closer to home. So we didn't actually improve our behaviors, or we didn't really respond to a state calling us out to not just hand wash, but really, we become as one family, concerned for the other. So for me, from where I'm coming from, I am just so shocked at the gall of these states, our governments, who are so far removed. They weren't even able to call one convention parliament prior to the ATB for young people to express themselves in an online hearing. And did you know that we actually don't even have already the budgets for hazard pay of our healthcare workers, nurses? Oh my gosh. So I am really it's appalling, it's shocking, it's condemnable. So this is our my little way to contribute to your conference, that your youth voice matters. Where people don't say this doesn't matter, silence is okay. And they say that, like only a few of us are really woke, and we're people who are the rare from the few. No, we're saying that youth voice matters because you're counting for these people who have no partisan interest, corporate interest, no political ambition whatsoever. They are making that position count. And to a testament to what our forefathers have always fought for. Without interest in mind, they got shot at the barrel of the gun, Jose Rizal, because he was fighting for his country. And that we are using our pen, we are using our technology, we are using our moment, our time, platform, conference to come together as one global youth humanity. That it matters. Our elders who are activists depend on us. And I depend on you. I depend on you who have the Wi-Fi access, and I don't have as much Wi-Fi access where I'm coming from. Thank you, guys. I am honored to be given this little moment with you. There's no PowerPoint that can say how much your your humanity, this organization, this you guys who represent you represent the principles that many of our legislators may have forgotten, have forgotten. So thank you for this. Congratulations. Keep up digging facts, fact check, verify, ask for verification, ask for accountability, and make your youth voice matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Samira Gutoc. We are truly honored to have you here. Thank you so much. And at this point of time, we will be entertaining questions for you. In regards to the questions, please message me or you can ask freely in the chat box. Again, everyone, please do message in the chat box or message me personally for your questions. I think everyone is just in awe that they couldn't ask anything.
Oh, thank God. Ang dami na yung dinadaanan na rin na forum. So, okay.
Um,
I'm grateful.
hello,
Thank you.
hello,
Hi.
hello, ma'am. I would like to ask
Hi.
something as well. Um, what
Yes.
other opportunities aside from MUN can you suggest for the youth in order to extend their advocacies despite this quarantine?
But definitely talk is cheap if we don't get to engage governmental functionaries and entities. Like if it's for children's rights, we need to really engage the UNICEF. We need to engage the government office, DSWD, that works on children. So we're going to have to find a channel, find a line with that agency that can make our policies happen, our proposals, our mindset, what's in our mind. So what we talk about right now has actually a documentation to the effect, depending on what office, depending on what organization. So that's one. It can also happen that we provide, this platform provides other links. So you're suggesting for other links. I would suggest organizations for human rights. There's an alliance called Philippine Alliance for Human Rights Action. For young people, there's the UN SDG. There's the network that focuses on the SDG Sustainable Development Goals. For young women, there's just so many organizations out there. Amarella is one, and we talked about reproductive health. Mental health, there's just so many organizations that you can also, Google up and find a way to chat somebody from their organization. So marami po, depende really on what field of expertise you also want to find yourself in, and that'll even help you in your career in the future.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Samira Gutoc. Really appreciate that. Igniting the spirit of the youth. Like despite even if we are in lockdowns, that doesn't still stop us from letting our voices be heard.
Yeah, we got to find out, we got to find all our PowerPoints back, but I wasn't able to use for our forum. Pero yun nga, we had a chance to dig up all our documents and all our files na naka-archive dyan sa mga namin cabinet at saka dito sa laptops.
Thank you so much for your question, James, and your answer, Ms. Samira Gutoc. There has been a question from one of the delegates of UNWTO. What is your advocacy, or what is your favorite advocacy, Ms. Samira Gutoc, and why?
It's about internally displaced persons or displacement, because displacement is one of the biggest problems right now. Climate change displaces people. COVID is displacing people. War displaces people. So displaced persons bill has no bill in the country. And in the world, we do have so many displaced persons: Afghanistan, Syrians, Palestinians, Arabs, Africans. So we also need to look into this very vulnerable situation where they're already facing COVID displacement and also displacement already from their wars or conflicts from their own communities.
We truly do hope that the question is answered. There are quite a lot of questions, Miss Samira. Is it okay if I ask you around 5 more?
Okay.
All right. The next question is quite long. The question, I will be reading the entire text. The question that I have is, since we are talking about the youth here, there is an ongoing war on social media between the DDS and Dilawan, or whatever their allegiance is, that we have, in which the neutral people are having to have a hard time to choose sides between their ideology is not the same with those factions that we will be labeled as theirs. How can we engage this, these neutral people to speak up and not be afraid to be bashed or criticized by the people around them?
The neutrals can be engaged when they find that what we're talking about is fact-based, may evidence, and there are testimonies like on the ground where we can get, like, if we're talking about pornography, how pornography has affected a person, you can actually have somebody share on his experience if he's okay with opening up his personal experience. So the neutrals can actually pick up from persons kasi it requires a face eh. May advokasya, may biktima, may taong magsasalita tungkol sa issue na yon na dahil sa dinaanan niya. He got to experience the concern itself. So whether it be about discrimination, LGBT who has, is not allowed in a toilet. I mean, that is very graphic, an example, and that can actually, yes, there will be bashing, but that can actually, because you cannot debate truths, eh? You cannot debate an experience. So that's my tip, like to get into to the neutrals is that, hey guys, it's happening, like don't wait for your sister to be maabuso sa sexual jokes, or rape jokes. You don't want rape jokes just to be said publicly by leaders. Well, ayaw mo sigurong i-rape joke ng teacher mo or anybody, your sister or your mother.
Thank you, Ms. Samira. There is a delegate who is raising their hand. I believe that they want to ask the question live. You may do so. Yes, delegate of Netherlands, you may raise your question.
Thank you. The delegate already said it a while ago, but she can raise it right now. Ms. Samira Gutoc, I would like to ask, in what ways does the quarantine affect the Muslim community differently? For example, do LGUs able to provide halal friendly goods to members of the Muslim community who are staying at home, so that they have food, basic necessities that comply with halal standards, among other things.
Thank you very much. That goes to the core, that hunger, hunger and culture-based food provision is something that the agriculture sector, the food provision sectors would consider. And thank you for that. That we did have a problem with the halal. That many of the Muslims wouldn't be able to access. Like go to Ayala in Makati and you can't even find one halal restaurant. It's very difficult. And if you find halal, it's very expensive. So it's not yet a policy. There's no law yet halal policy in the country. So I don't know if in your country there's a halal policy, and we can actually generate income from this halal industry because it's actually healthy. It's a non pork nga, non oil. Not I mean it's not pork. So many vegetarians even venture into halal. So we had a problem during the COVID, but when opportunities arise, halal is really a big venture to enter into.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gutoc.
Thank you very much again for your question and your answer. There is a delegate who raised their hand, delegate of Austria. You may ask your question.
Good day, Ms. Gutoc. I would like to ask your opinion about a developing report from the verified page of the ZMM Teleradio. It is about a high-profile inmate, Raymond Dominguez, that said to be dead, but they mistakenly it is still alive. He is in the NBI isolation area because of asthma. That is stated by the OJ Secretary Minardo Guevara based on text message of the Bucor. What is your opinion about this? Because there are a lot of messages saying that Bucor are resurrecting or letting free of the high profile inmates and saying that they are dead because of COVID-19, I'm sorry.
Yung namatay na prisoner, no? Namatay inside
Yes, they
the
said
prison.
Raymond Dominguez is already dead because of COVID, but is verified by the OJ secretary that he is still alive, but still in the NBI isolation.
It goes to the core, ma'am, yung issue natin that the protector is not protecting. When you're in a jail, you're supposed to be protected by jail wardens and people who are in the pillars of justice. They are salaried. They're supposed to have CCTVs. You're supposed to be even provided, like funding allocation to have health and etc. Even COVID testing as we're lobbying. COVID testing for the inmates. Kasi magkakadikit-dikit sila eh. So that's the problem with the justice system, guys, that you're looking at the quota of just jailing people without educating them not to go to jail. And that's what we want with prevention of crime as a framework. So accountability, this is an issue again of accountability. Why? Why in the hands of protector is the protected to be not protected? There is a question. It's the same Kian question. Why will Kian de los Santos die? Why will police shoot at a military in Holo? Why will a military kill another military in Quezon City in that shootout, former retired military? So we need less init ulo, mediation techniques. We need the police to be reoriented, our jail authorities to refocus and focus their budget allocation, their prioritization of attention to the welfare of prisoners. High profile, low profile, lahat po dapat protektahan within their jurisdiction. Kaya nga custody eh. The word is custody, guardianship. You are guardianing, taking care of that human being who has a family, who is waiting for him after jail. Ay, nako. It's appalling. It's very sad. It's very sad.
Thank you so much, Bo, for your answer. And there are more people who wish to question. Hence, let's go with the delegate of the United Kingdom from the UNSC.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Ms. Samira Gutoc, now that the President is set to address the country, if given the opportunity, what is your most important message to the Filipino people in the true state of our nation?
Sir President, can you sleep at night? I wonder kasi if he can sleep at night with all the people who died under this dispensation and this 4 years already of shoot to kill. So that's my question. So sir, how do you sleep at night? Simply.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your answer and question once again. We can proceed to another delegate, delegate of Sweden.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah.
I just want to ask, do you think the Philippines emphasizes with the research and development of the country? Because, as far as I observe, most of the MAE people and the PhD people only take this title not just for the research and development itself, but just only a title for promotion. What is your stand about that regarding if the Philippines emphasizes with the research and development, especially in the agriculture, health, and education area?
I ask you, do you have a thesis? Do you have a thesis already?
Actually, yes, I am working with my MA thesis, ma'am. I'm just curious in your stand if the Philippines is really
Yeah.
emphasizes with the research and development area of the country.
Tayo ay bawat nagkaroon ng research thesis. Tayong mga college graduates, tayong mga master's PhD. To show you that hindi yan nako-consider, I asked you because R&D, yung ating mga thesis outputs, focused on a certain intervention with recommendations pa ng mga legislators. So that is just an example na hindi magkadikit, hindi in consonance, hindi nai-align yung needs ng country natin dahil yung mga research outputs ng mismo tayo and even experts, hindi po yan natatawag. In the Senate hearings, di ba nakikita mo?
Yes, yes.
There's not many experts who are offering in them, like in the anti-terror bill. Sino ba ang tinawag na experts on terrorism? Sasabihin nila, terrorism dapat ay ang malaki pang titingnan mo yung pag-implementa ng Human Security Act, walang reporting eh. So research and development is not really, kaya I mentioned facts, research yon. That means I'm saying that we're not so R&D focused. And that's the strength of Japan. That's the strength of Singapore. That's the strength of Germany. I think in the European setting, research and development, because I was there for a while, alam ko na ginagamit talaga yan for policy, for funding something, for funding a program.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your answer.
Yes, of course.
Madam Vice Chair, or on you.
Vice Chair, you're on mute.
Apologies. The delegate of Canada, you may now ask your question.
Good afternoon po. First and
Hi.
foremost. Concerned lang po ako sa 11,000 workers na nawala ng trabaho dahil sa ABS-CBN franchise, and nakakawalang gana po kasi magkinig ng balita ngayon. Ano po yung updates?
The updates is that they're being discouraged not to hold protests because there might be transmission of COVID. So the artists are saying, like Angel is really prominent headline on that, that she's still challenging and calling out celebrities to join in the physical protest, no? So they still have an online presence, the digital ABS, and parang the labor group, the 11,000 are negotiating with for their benefits to be given. So meron silang organization of laborers of ABS to be the negotiating with management. So may ganun pong proseso ngayon, and to yung call out for renewing the franchise of ABS, may ganun din movement. So may mga ganung, I think there's lawyers who are helping, mga non-ABS-CBN lawyers to, volunteer lawyers who are helping ABS to carry out that yung call to renew its franchise. And yung sa issue naman ng media freedom, let's not just look at ABS, let's look at Maria Ressa, Rappler, let's look at Inquirer, at saka yung mga pinapatay na journalists in the Philippines. There's really something wrong in a democracy pag ang tinatarget mo media. Ang daming kurakot, tapos ang media ang natututukan sila yung tumitingin sa kurakot. So kurakot na yun na tax evaders, hahanapin sana ng media kasi hindi nagagawa ng Philippine government agad to investigate. That's why we have investigative journalists, and many have trained under the ABS. We who are mass comm students understand, grabe ang training dyan sa ABS. Pag nanggaling ka sa DZMM, you're really gonna go to places, you know? So that's the update po, that 11,000 are negotiating for their benefits, and some of them, like Vice Ganda, are already looking at newer opportunities for them, like getting into digital network.
Follow up lang po. Is it possible po ba na ma-renew pa yung franchise ng ABS sa term po ngayon? Or hindi na po talaga?
It's a congressional question kasi. Congress will have to be the one to vote and renew the vote. So they did vote for it's non-renewal. So we don't know what's the statement of the president tomorrow kasi nga the impression we get is that they really were led on by the president's hatred for ABS. And if you don't vote to renew, if you don't follow the president, even if the president denies it, that he said he influenced the process of congresspersons, which is a separate branch of government, then, well, we're saying that the congresspersons will really have to show. That's why I'm asking the Asia Pacific, this youth platform, to remind our congressmen which side are they on? The president or the people? The president or the youth? The majority?
Thank you po.
Thank you po for your answer and your question. Delegate of Canada, do you still have any points to raise? You may lower your hand. Lastly, we have the delegate of Germany.
Hi. Hi, Madam Samira Gutoc. Hi.
Hi.
I'm just questioning because I'm also a media practitioner for an independent media. What do you think about the loans that we are taking out when when a think tank said that if we just could divert our other loans to cancel our other loans from the UN for the COVID efforts loans. Diba? Wait, sorry. We're taking too much COVID loans and we still have pre-existing loans. What if we should take out the projects that was set before and prioritize the loans? What's your stand on that?
Transparency, responsibility, education fund. Transparency, we enter into loans and we're not sure we're going to be able to pay. And the next administrations the young people will have to find out about it. The next administrations will still have to pay for the loans that we have entered into now and the loans that we haven't paid since Marcos. So the principal pa nga, hindi natin maabot mabayaran and interest. So a loan has conditions kasi. So we're always looking at the condition. What is the condition? Are we giving up some territory? Are we giving up some, how much money? How much do we have to pay? And usually, doon tayo naglo-lose out. We have to pay so much and we're not able to pay. Even the principal, the interest itself, I mean, hindi natin makayang bayaran. So it's a very lose-lose situation. Of course, we benefit from their equipment. We benefit from their technologies, whatever it is. But the relationship of dependence continues. Responsibility. It's the responsibility of the young people to examine the agreements, to examine the loan contracts that we enter into as a country. So if your university has loans, sana po, you get to know what your university has entered into. Always ask. And we have a right to ask for information. Freedom of information is guaranteed, FOI. and education loans. Of course, the best kind of loan for me is education, where when you're investing in the population and their growth, prosperity, Malaysian example, Singapore example, UK example, Japan example, you're investing in the middle class. When you invest in the middle class, they who can earn 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, and they can buy a car, and they can support households, they can support their families back home, then that is the expansion already of the earning class that can jump and push the economy forward. So education loans for the poor young people right now who will be the future. Is Bill Gates an example of a model or not? A future inventor, future entrepreneur, future Concepcion, Mr. Concepcion, or future Mr. Cooperative Champion. These are things that we need to look into. Education loan. I mean, I would prefer an education loan above all other loans rather than defense loan na dependent masyado tayo sa America or sa China.
An additional question, Madam. How do you feel about the fluctuations of what Duterte says in his recent speeches? Sometimes he says that still have money, and sometimes he says that we don't have money for COVID response. What is your stand
The
about that?
fluctuations, yeah. You know, yung ating concern palagi as young people is that research-based nga sana yung speech at saka yung sinasabi niya holds direction, holds weight. You know, he takes up our time di ba? I mean, we're supposed to get some sense that there is something that is important, and we're acting on it. His people are acting on it, and we will not die the next day because we can't enter into a hospital, or our relatives can't. So the fluctuations and non-certainty in his policy statements, and yung parang pagka-informal niya lends to his popularity to the mass, but not really stability to policy responders. So it's only the people around him who understand him, yung parang the closest to him. And tayo, we have to guess. Tayo mga people who are, working also on the ground. It's important as young people that he talks to us also. Young people, kayo ang aking iiwanan Matanda na ako. So anong aking gustong gawin nyo? 'Di ba? So hindi natin klaro ba?
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you so much, Ms. Samira, and again for the question. There is 2 more people raising their hands. Okay, there is only one now. This will be the very last person to ask. I am very sorry if we have to cut it that short, but we are cut on time. But I am sure, Ms. Samira Gutoc, before I introduce the next question, would you like to tell them where they can connect with you? Would you like to inform them if they can message you anywhere?
Yeah, I can, yung aking paper on causes of terrorism, you can Google it online, and many of my materials that I work on peace and internally displaced persons. So I can be found on, online. You can Google my materials and the topic that you're concerned with: women, youth, displaced persons, etc., conflict. So I'm there online. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And yeah, follow if you feel like it. Thank you guys. Kalinaw. Kalinaw means peace. And year 2020 is the year of ecumenism, year of the dialogues of all religions.
Ms. Samira, you have the last question. You can answer it now. You can go ask your question, Gutan.
Hi, Ms. Gutoc. Given the current issue
What's the
with
question?
during the rise of this pandemic, CHED and DepEd are agreeing for schools to start again by August, but due to tight budgets, some schools are letting go of faculty members, increase in tuitions, revoking scholarships from students, and students being left behind because they cannot afford the tuition or don't have access on equipment and facilities. What is your stand on academic freeze, and should it be pushed through?
Samira?
You know, in the Constitution, it's very basic. Yeah, hi. I got the question, academic freeze.
Yes.
Does academic freeze mean that your loans are going to be stopped, no? Yung tuition fee support, ganun ba?
No,
Is
miss.
that
It's about the terms being stopped for now, so that students can wait till the pandemic is over before school starts again.
You know, for me, even if walang classes, dapat may form of support eh. Because, you know, it's still fundamental in our Philippine Constitution, the highest law of the land, which doesn't require interpretation, that sentence in the Constitution, Section 13, that the state recognizes the vital role of the youth in nation building and shall promote and protect their physical, moral, spiritual, intellectual, social well-being. Notice the word shall. Pag shall ang word, the state is mandatorily supposed to do it. So kung i-freeze niya yung dapat beneficial sa kabataan, and that would include subsidy, scholarship support, pwede niyong i-question sa Supreme Court on this using this Section 13 of the Constitution. So very important yan na provision, yan ang aming yan ang aming holy grail sentence. Itong the state's recognition of the Philippine Constitution to say that, you know, dapat hindi nahirapan tayo eh. So you're supposed to kind of, kayong gobyerno, the state has to find a way. We need really great lawyers also to be helping us so that we win our cases. And you can start it, ma'am, you know, if you have a relative or a inaanak or, you know, inaanak, kinakapatid, or somebody who can fight it out in the Philippines. And online petitions are now welcome. They can, file file cases.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Magagalit ang mga eskwelahan sa akin.
Thank you so much po. For
Thank
your
you.
last words, do you have anything to say to all of us po?
We all dream to do better and to be the best. But if your best will hurt and harm others, then we have to rethink. COVID happened 100 years later after the plague in Europe that killed 1 million. Jesus might be telling us something. Maybe it's a time to rethink and think and reflect more of the air that we breathe, how lucky we are of the footpaths that we can walk, and the technologies that we are given and granted to. How much of our Wi-Fi time makes us appreciate our non-Wi-Fi life? How much of our being at home makes us love the homeless? How much of our eating makes us love the hungry? How much of our being with eyes are we concerned more for the blind? So make our hands count. Our hands are not just for touching, they are for making something happen. Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you so much po. Before you leave, I call upon the Secretary General as he will be presenting a certificate.
So, the Asia Pacific International Model United Nations presents this certificate of appreciation to Ms. Samira Gutoc for imparting her valuable insights and inspiration to youth advocates across the globe at the Asia Pacific International Model United Nations Online Conference V.3, with the theme Global Transparency and Justice for the World's Innovation in the Midst of the COVID-19 Pandemic, held on July 25 to 26, 2020 via Zoom. Signed by the Secretariat of the APIMUN, the Project Director, and the Assistant Project Director of the Asia Pacific International Model United Nations. Thank you very much, Ms. Samira Gutoc.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mabuhay po. Kalinaw.
Thank you very much po.
Thank you very much.
So I think before we totally end Miss Samira Gutoc's presentation, maybe we can take a photo first. Is it okay? Is it okay, Miss Samira, if we can take a photo? Yeah, okay. So we're encouraging everyone to open their cameras. Okay. So ready, everyone? 1, 2, 3. Another one for the other side. Okay. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Miss UNSC Vice Chair, smile, please. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Can we do the APIMUN pose? Can you? Yeah. Can you tell me? No, it's
What's the pose? Ganun ba?
Yes po.
It's like a triangle.
It's like a triangle. Hawak ko kasi yung cellphone eh. I'll try, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And for other side, for other side. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum. Thank you. Salam, salam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.